Welcome to a special episode of the Vintage Anime Club podcast. A short one here today. I am one of the hosts, Dennis. Joining me right now, we have Kate.
Hello.
And we got Garrett.
Hey.
And we're going to talk about One Piece. I know we are not a One Piece podcast. There's a lot of them out there, and one main one that a couple of us have guested on in the past, but thought it was prudent to talk about this. All three of us here got to see the first episode of the One Piece Netflix live-action adaptation early at the Santa Monica / One Piece...
Pirates on the Pier.
Pirates Unite on the Pier, something like that, brought to you by Street Food Cinema. All of that jargon.
You should have looked this up ahead of time.
That's fine. It's better this way. There's a lot of subtitles and stuff on. We can make it longer, but I'm not going to. But yeah, we all ended up watching it, and we got a story to tell. It was pretty wild, because, surprising no one, free event in Los Angeles where you needed tickets oversold.
Well, it was free tickets.
Mm-hmm. They still had to get claimed.
Yeah, so all the tickets got claimed ahead of time. It said it was, sold out. But also, RSVPing for a ticket does not guarantee you admission.
Which is kind of wild.
Well, they want to make sure that they hit capacity.
Yeah, but I feel like with how many people were still waiting, they hit double capacity.
Yeah. I wonder if they were expecting a bunch of people to RSVP it but not show up, but everybody showed up.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe, Cowboy Bebop might have worried them a little bit. Like, hey, we're doing this thing. There seems to be a lot of good traction before it releases, but it's still an animated live action adaptation. And we've been burned on that before. So we'll just throw out a whole bunch and see who shows up. And then, lo and behold, One Piece fans are actually pretty loyal and will show up if you give them a reason to. And they showed up.
Yeah. Long queue to get in. You can see all the displays there and stuff too for things. So I'm not going to bore too many details of the stuff that we did not really fully get to see.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've ever been to the Santa Monica Pier, they have an amusement park on the pier with like a roller coaster and a Ferris wheel and some other rides and like carnival games. So the premise was the screening would be at 8. Doors open at 6, and then you could wander around. Like the amusement park would be reserved for this event, so you could go on all of the rides and stuff.
Netflix staff was kicking people out. Apparently, you with entry, you were given a voucher for about $15 worth of game tokens to try to play games, the carnival games for stuff. They had things like mugs, T-shirts, bags, couple of other swag pieces that all had One Piece logo, branding, characters, and stuff on there. And, typical freebies, but you got to play to earn the thing that you wanted. And I'm sure that if you spent enough of your free token money, they'd have just given to you anyway.
Well, I would hope so. But it's not like we got to find out for ourselves, because last minute, there was an announcement that I think the doors were going to open at 5 instead.
Yeah.
But we, didn't get there until 6:15-ish and joined the end of a very long line. And then as we were getting close to the front around, what was it, 7?
It was 6:45.
Yeah, 6:45. They had people going down the line saying, hey, we're at capacity. You're not going to get in. If you want to stay in this line, you can get a free straw hat, souvenir.
Yeah. So it was disappointing. Garrett, how did you feel when we got hit with that?
Yeah, disappointed. Bought a whole... So also last minute, not as last minute as, hey, we're going to open early, but somewhat last minute, they're like, oh, you should also bring a outdoor chair.
That's right.
Because, this is going to be on the pier. There is no, seating on the pier. So it was either bring a chair or sit on the wood ground. So I went out and bought a chair literally the night before and lugged that thing around because it was a pretty sizable chair, like an actual chair, although foldable. And yeah, got to the front and they're like, yeah, sorry, at capacity. And I'm just standing there with my chair like, okay.
Womp womp. Well, hopefully you kept the receipt to return it. Yeah. The adventure does not end there yet, folks. We ended up going down to the beach.
Act 1.
Yeah, Act 1. And Act 1. We got our hats. Before we went to the beach, we got our hats. And I have to say, these are some of the nicest Luffy straw hats I have seen, besides the official ones you get from either the Mugiwara store or the Jump store, or the premium Bandai Luffy hat that is made to your size.
Yeah, it was actually kind of decent. Like, for a freebie, I kind of wonder, like, based on the hang tag that it came with, like, are they planning on selling these?
I hope so.
Like official Netflix One Piece merchandise?
I want every Luffy cosplayer to get a chance at this because it is way better than the neon yellow hats that you get at conventions. It's got a very good leather chin strap to help hold things down, and looks, pretty badass on the, when it's hanging off your neck. Unfortunately, it is one size fits most. So if you're big-headed like me,
and me,
also Garrett, it won't really fit you all that great, but you can work with it. Like, it is not bad at all. Nice, soft, floppy. Maintains its shape even though it's soft, and it has a nice short brim too, which I really, really like for Luffy hats. So I have not looked on eBay or Mercari or any of those other stores. I'm assuming people are trying to sell it for whatever. If you do plan on picking it up, hope you get it cheap because it is nice. And someone needs to find the source of Netflix ad for this. So lugging our free hats, going to the beach, met up with some other friends who joined us in line. They were not able to get in as well.
Didn't get in.
Fans of the show. Previous returning guest Brian, we joined up with him, or he joined up with us in line, and he brought a friend who has never been to Santa Monica, at least the pier anyway. So we decided to walk the pier, go to the beach. Kate and I took fun cosplay photos on the beach, which
it was like right around sunset, so we got some really nice golden hour photos on the sand.
We've never done One Piece beach cosplay before, so that was pretty fun. And thank you, Garrett, for taking some cool photos of us.
You are welcome.
And as we were leaving, time to go back. After getting all of the gawking stares and "Hey Pinocchio, what's up, man?" and my Usopp cosplay.
Yeah, I think you were more self-conscious because like people kept calling out to you specifically.
Yeah, it would be fine in the One Piece event, but walking around on the boardwalk, not great. But as we were leaving, decided to take photos of the entrance sign and pose with it. It's like, hey, proof that we were here. And Netflix staff spotted us and was like, what are you guys doing out here? Wait, hold on. Wait here.
Yeah, he was like, how many people in your group? Wait here. And then he like ran off into the crowd, and then he like came back with some other people, and then like basically we all got walked in.
So we made it in super last minute, which if you follow me on the website formerly known as Twitter, I made mention of that, but man, what luck.
Yeah, it ended up working out just fine, because like if we hadn't taken the time to walk around the pier and go take nice photos on the sand, like we would have left long before that. Mm-hmm. But instead we ended up getting in about 20 minutes before the screening was supposed to start.
Not a lot of time to do some things, but we kind of split up and did a few things. Kate and Garrett, why don't you tell us about the wall that was there? Yeah,
so there was a short line right near the front entrance where there was basically a big wall that had like a framed sketch from Oda himself, and you could like sign the wall. So we waited in line and signed the wall. There was a model of a Den Mushi in a glass case right near it. Man, these things look so creepy in real life.
Specifically the model from the Netflix show we should mention.
Yeah, no, it
is big.
Yeah, it is quite large, but way bigger than like a telephone should be. Way bigger than an actual snail.
Yeah. Yes. What? No way.
Yeah. But yeah, like signing the wall was really nice. I had to like stand up on my tiptoes to try to find a spot that no one had written in yet.
How about you, Garrett? Where did you try to sign?
So where I originally tried to sign, as I was waiting for my turn, I'm like, oh, I see a nice little spot. Hope no one takes it. Get up there. Okay, here goes. Right as I'm about to write in the spot, I'm like, oh, no, someone wrote here. Just I think their marker was dying as they wrote it. And I stood there for a second because I'm like, do I write over it? Like, no one's going to see it if I leave it alone. No, that's rude. I will find another spot. And eventually I did.
That's good. That's nice of you.
Yeah, you did the Nakama thing. Like, don't write over someone else's note.
I'm sure someone else might have ended up doing it, but it wasn't you.
I mean, I guess it depends because it was there. Like, it's not like someone wrote there as I was in line. Like, that spot was there. So maybe I'm not the first who was like, okay, I see my spot. Oh no, someone's here.
Yeah. But
we're all crew members here. We're not gonna overwrite.
Yeah.
As it started getting darker, people were like, oh, I'm just gonna write right here. So that was
that actually could happen.
Yeah, and then basically we're like, oh, let's look for a nice spot to actually watch the screening because time was getting short.
Meanwhile, I got wrangled by somebody who was like, I'm trying to assemble everybody in like the main One Piece crew. Unfortunately, there was no Jinbei, but they got 9 of the Straw Hats and a few others. There was an Ace, there was a Bon Clay, there was a Genzo, and Belmare.
Wow.
Of all people. And so a giant crew of One Piece cosplayers taking photos on this replica of the live action Going Merry Masthead. So that was fun. Got photos taken there, and then basically found my seat after meeting up with y'all. Oh, you guys also got to go to the Bratier replica to get a drink, right?
Oh, yeah. So the bar was in it was set up in a giant inflatable whale shape, like the restaurant Bratier. So we stood in line, and then as we were second from the front of the line, a staffer came by and said, "The bar's closed now. Go find your seats."
No.
And then we were like, what if we just wait in line and see if they'll still serve us?
Yeah, it was right at 8 when the screening was supposed to start.
Yeah.
Or at least, when they put on the invitations that's when it's starting. So they're like, okay, bar's closed. Everyone find your seat so we can actually start the thing, which I did appreciate just on the level of, well, I'm glad they're not just starting it and then, making people find their seat. Like, they waited for the majority of everyone to sit down. But yeah, as Kate said, we're just like, we're right here, and she said it's closed, but the bartenders are still bartending. It won't hurt to ask, just to see. And we asked, and we got our drinks.
Yeah. They had some beer and wine, and then they had a couple custom cocktails.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. This is the night of the close calls. There's gonna be one more later, but got drinks, sat down, found a decent spot, and watched the episode. So, preface this: we will spoil the first episode for the One Piece live action on Netflix. I'm hoping that this recording will come out before August 31st when the first season drops on Netflix. But that is the plan, and if it happens, pat me on the back. Appreciate it. Digitally pat me on the back. Just give it a like. Otherwise, sorry, but we're going to try to get it out as soon as we can. So yeah, I was hoping they would show 2, but they only showed 1.
But it was an hour long.
An hour long. And guys, I liked it.
Yeah, it is. I don't know about you guys. For me, I really enjoyed it, but just the fear and the PTSD of what was Cowboy Bebop just in the back of my head. Like, hey, you know what this will be. This is Netflix. They haven't proven anything yet. And it's like, yeah, you're right. I don't want to get my hopes up. But it was a really strong first episode.
It's not even just Bebop. It is like the history of live action anime adaptations for the past, X decades.
Since ever.
Yeah.
There are very few ones that actually came out and were decent.
And the ones that I did like were all produced by Japan. So an American adaptation has not worked all that well for me.
Yeah, well, basically America doesn't have very good track records adapting anime.
No. And even the non-American ones on Netflix are hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of you out there who are listening have watched the Full Metal Alchemist Netflix, but it ain't good.
I have not.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Let's see, what have I watched?
You truly don't need to.
Okay.
Go and watch the anime again before watching the live action.
Yeah, the in terms of American stuff, like besides Bebop, there's the god awful taste of the Dragon Ball movie.
Right.
I still feel like I have not cleansed my eyes enough.
We scrubbed that from history. We're like Texas over here.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, Dragon Ball, it was okay. Like, no, it was awful.
I can't say Speed Racer is bad or not because I have not seen it, but I hear okay things about it. So maybe someday.
I have to go back and watch Speed Racer because when it came out, I thought it was terrible. I think a lot of people thought it was terrible. And I think with fresher eyes and actually understanding what Speed Racer is, because I knew of Speed Racer, but I never watched the show. So I think I have to go back and rewatch that and see. Maybe we can make that like a special episode or something.
Sure. And I thought the Alita adaptation was a good adaptation. I just don't think it's a good story.
Oh.
So I was more impressed that wow, they really follow the anime. This is great if you like the anime.
But if you don't like the anime, you're not going to like that live action adaptation. I do not like the anime
all that much. I still think it's a good story and setting, so I kind of want to read the manga instead. But the One Piece adaptation, strong start, enjoyed the aesthetic, the look of the characters, the costumes. You got to deal with some accents in the voices, but that's okay. It gives it much more of an international feel.
Yeah, I don't think dealing with is the right. That's not how I felt about it. I'm happy that this isn't a world where everyone speaks in the same accent anyway.
Yeah,
because it's they have a lot of ground to cover, and really where One Piece starts is just sort of a tiny part of the world, and then as the series goes on, you learn about more and more of the rest of the world. But not everyone who you see in the first episode is necessarily even from this little part of it.
No, but for me it was just more of besides, what was it? Ian McShane doing the narration. We start off with Garp being one of the first voices you hear talk, and the actor who plays Luffy is South American, but Garp, heavy Scottish accent. So
yeah, I'm fine with that.
The family resemblance ends there.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it does make sense both if you're a longtime reader or watcher of the original and how they set it up here. Whereas it's not like they spent time together,
Yeah,
they are clearly I mean, even they don't really say it so much in the manga or anime. In fact, in the manga or anime, they're very much oh yeah, that's Garp's, grandson, and he's just what was that, Dennis?
Grandson.
Yeah, this is Garp's grandson, so we know the lineage, but he just kind of left him here and whatever. In the Netflix show, they call Luffy a street urchin. I don't know if they know he's Garp's grandson or if there's any relation at that point. I know there will be, but the show sets it up so if you didn't know that going in, you wouldn't think that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that was a conscious choice.
Yeah, because back when these scenes were happening in the anime and the manga, no one knew about that backstory yet anyway. The Garp connection comes way later.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's been so long, I kind of forgot that was all.
They're doing a lot of pulling from future stuff, which I appreciate and helps speed up the story. I feel the tone and pacing is really good, especially compared to some anime filler. But they're starting from the beginning, so they can cram a whole lot more things into one together. Yeah, there were so many
cameos. If you know a lot of One Piece characters, there were a lot of cameos in this first episode. So, characters that you'll recognize, characters that, aren't important yet and may not become important until way later, but they're showing up in these scenes, in the background.
Yeah, the episode basically involves Luffy meeting Kobe, beating Alvida, meeting Zoro, Nami, Helmeppo, and then defeating Axe-Hand Morgan. All the while laying in this plot of other things too. You see the flashback between Luffy and Shanks. Don't see You don't
part
see
of it.
part of it. You don't see the whole flashback. You also get to see Zoro meeting a Baroque Works agent, which was only mentioned, I believe, in the manga and anime, but not actually shown.
It was actually a really cool introduction.
Yeah, Zoro got the coolest intro, I think.
And his original introduction is also cool.
Yeah.
Like in the manga and anime, just seeing him strung up and then finding out a little bit later why he was strung up. But that was pretty cool. Like, oh, okay, I understand who this is.
Mm-hmm.
In the Netflix adaptation, that was a smart choice to pull from just a little throwaway line.
Yeah.
And be like, no, let's actually show that. Because one, we get the immediate introduction to Zoro, who he is, what he's like, and how he fights. Also setting up that he is a fucking badass because, no, it's not really a spoiler. The Baroque Works doesn't really work in their favor. But the way that person is taken out is a little gruesome. Like, I wasn't really expecting that.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of action in this. There's some blood. Hey, guess what? Swords are sharp.
Yeah, well, and hey, guess what? People kill people at sea. Like, Alvida definitely kills some people.
Mm-hmm.
She caved some dude's brain in, and you a little bit on the deck.
Yeah, which, like, you don't actually see her smash his head open, but you see, like, the blood and brains on the ground that Kobe has to mop up after.
And the Foley. Oh, boy, that sound effect's like, oh.
Yeah, so it's an interesting tone difference. It's definitely not the same kind of lighthearted feel that the manga has, but, when it's live action, I think, there's a certain level of realism that you want to establish, even though this is, like, it's not as serious as something like Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's kind of a hard balance to strike between something that's cartoony enough because it comes from, anime and manga versus something that's like realistic enough that you can believe that these characters actually live in this world and this is what's normal for them.
I don't think we'll get... Oh, go ahead, Garrett.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's almost like later One Piece, like not current One Piece, but One Piece kind of gradually upped the seriousness of it.
Yeah,
it's kind of starting more in that area, and just one episode in, I feel like it's working because starting off a little bit more serious allows for like the goofiness when it is there to hit a lot harder, especially since you can't put actual goofy Luffy from the anime and just put that into live action because that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So, and it was one of my trepidations at first. Like I wasn't sure, especially in the trailers, they weren't really showing Luffy being goofy, and I was a little worried that they wouldn't. But I feel like they found a really good tone for him in live action.
It's a good balance with him being like both kind and upbeat, but also a little like grounded in realism in a way, for as goofy as a stretchy guy could be,
Yeah, I think he doesn't do that much stretching in this first episode. Like, there's a little bit of it, but it's more of like a secret weapon rather than something that he does all the time.
CG budget, Kate. You gotta save
I guess
it.
So. Yeah. Maybe they were worried about if it's too stretchy all the time, then it's going to be hard to treat the rest of the show realistically.
Yeah.
And then stretchy powers in live action media has never really looked all that great. And I feel like there's a little bit of that here. Like it definitely have to give a little bit of suspension of belief, but I think it works. I think not overly doing it so far has worked. We'll see as the season goes how much they do use it and how it looks. But I do think at least in episode 1 they are using it smartly. They're not overly using it, so you have a lot of time to nitpick how it looks. But at the same time, when they use it, it's effective.
Yeah. With the going in with the use of the powers too, how our current hero trio also fights is also really good. At least I thought it was good too. Kate and I had this discussion today, like the day after we watched it, to like breaking down some of the fight scenes, how we appreciate it's more of how people would actually fight. Like Zoro and Nami are also throwing in some kicks and punches in there, and Zoro is like fight with sword only type thing, but being a little bit more acrobatic, using like kicks and stuff here. Nami's staff is not like a segmented staff, but instead it is like a retractable one.
Yeah, it's yeah, it extends and retracts. I lost my train of thought.
I'm like, yes, and yeah, it reminds me of Hawkeye's bow in the Avengers.
Yeah, or you just like give it a shake and then it like
extendo bow.
Yeah, pops out to full size.
This one is also an extendo bow staff, but yeah, and chemistry with the cast and the trio cast looks really good on screen so far. Any other praise things you want, or do you want to start getting to like the most minor of nitpicks if you have any?
Well, before getting to nitpicks, one thing I did really enjoy, and it was used sparingly, and I think that was smart, was the wanted posters and how the characters actually interact with the wanted posters. So we get two examples of this in the first episode with Alvida and at the very end, Buggy. And I like what they do is like you see the character, and then when it's time to like introduce who they are, you get the wanna poster kind of like slapped on in front of them. And in both instances, Alvida and Buggy both like, once you get a look at the wanted poster, they slap it away to continue whatever they were doing. And it's a little like sprinkling of Scott Pilgrim, and I like that visual aesthetic that they put in there. Like it was a nice addition.
The term that the One Piece podcast uses is when a character gets introduced in the manga and there's a special like info section about them. That's what it reminded me of, which we called the Oda box. It's like, here's a character's name, if they have a wanted poster or not.
Yeah, like what their bounty's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was also really good too. All right. Two minor gripes that I have. One, it's Luffy starting out, so it's like the most minor of gripes. Not the best fighter at the moment. In the early onset of the anime and manga, Luffy has this, like, oh yeah, I could beat anybody up. I'm fine. And I don't get that kind of vibe here, but I like that it's the trio working together to take down Morgan rather than just Luffy doing it on his own. I was actually worried that Zoro was going to do it on his own because he pointed his sword at Luffy and is like, "I got this." I'm like, wait, no, you're not supposed to beat him. But the fact that the two of them took him down, I thought worked really well. And then I told Kate what my second minor nitpick was, and Garrett, you'll probably laugh at this too. Shanks isn't hot enough. Like, Shanks, fine. Very good voice for him. The look, the colors of the red-haired pirates are all very anime and manga inspired. So they got the nice bright colors too, which is great. Yeah, just not hot enough. Not hot enough for me.
Yeah.
He's perfectly good looking.
I think, I'm not the casting director for this show, but I think that there are a lot of characters with small roles in One Piece where it would be a great opportunity to get like a really well-known person to make a cameo. I feel like Shanks could have been one of those, but he's just kind of like he's fine in the role, but yeah, he's not particularly hot or intimidating looking or,
Yeah.
Like, I would expect Shanks to be like a little more something.
Yeah.
I am willing to give Shanks the benefit of the doubt until we finish the flashback.
Oh, yeah.
Because at the moment, he is kind of what that Shanks is supposed to be before we discover that he's supposed to be a badass. So I'm fine with it so far, but I gotta see, what eventually became Hockey. I gotta see what they do with that part with him and the Sea King. Yep. Especially since we know they are definitely doing that. So I gotta see how that plays out. Go ahead.
Like you said, flashback. Shanks in the flashback is also a little scrawny, and it's not until later where he's like, oh, he's yoked now. Okay. As an actor, I'm sure he can put on any kind of like lean muscle cut, whatever, to exude that like aura of like, yeah, I'm a tough guy.
Yeah, well, and honestly, like with real people, like you could be super cut, but if you're wearing a shirt that's not, clinging to your muscles, it's gonna hide them.
Yeah. Yeah. Do either of you have anything?
So I had a couple minor nitpicks. I thought Zoro's hair looked great, but Nami's hair looked like a little too awkwardly bright orange.
Okay.
But I'm working on it because like it's supposed to be, her natural hair color. But it's just very vivid.
How dare she not do a natural orange?
Yeah, natural orange hair.
I mean, I feel like there are oranges that are more natural than that. But also, one of the things that I was really worried about from watching the early trailers was that the cinematography seemed to make everything look really dusty and muted. And I was thinking, like, are they afraid to have a lot of bright color in this show because it would make things seem more cartoony? Are they trying to, like, really ground things in being a realistic world by having everything look like brown, like a video game? But I am happy to report that watching at least episode 1, it's not all monochromatic. Like, I think some colors, like people's shirts and stuff, it's like not quite as vivid as I would expect it to be. Like, hey, Lucky Roo's wearing like a green and white shirt, but it's like a very faded green. Mm-hmm. And a very dull white.
Yeah, the white is, like with lots of use and whatnot. So,
yeah. So I'm curious to see, if some episodes are going to be brighter than others, because I feel like One Piece has a really bright color palette in the character designs and in the environments. So I hope that the live action doesn't shy away from showing that.
How about you, Garrett?
For me, I have like 1.5.
Okay.
One, I don't really, at least so far, I didn't care for how they portrayed the Denden Mushi. I think it looked great. I didn't like that when we saw Garrett pick up when he picked up the receiver, there was no like no gotcha or anything like that. I was like, oh. And then when he was talking to somebody, it was just like muffled.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like a little bit like Charlie Brown voice.
Yeah, like almost like if they were trying to do like he's on a phone and you can barely hear it. It was more like that, and I didn't really like that. Mainly because you are supposed to see the Denden Mushi talking, and it's supposed to be the other person's voice, and they are supposed to kind of mimic who that other person is. I am fine if they don't do the mimicking aesthetic part. I am hoping though that later we do get them like actually talking and conversing like you're supposed to with it, and it's not just all muffled, like you said, Kate, Charlie Brown isms.
I wonder if it's because, like, with who was supposed to be on that, maybe they just didn't cast the person that Garp was talking to at the time, because I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Sengoku's mustache.
Oh.
Okay. I was wondering, and you might be right. I also just figured that it could just be, like, a future character who they don't want to give away yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, again, these are the minor nitpicks.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they change it, but, like, if they don't, it's not going to like ruin the show for me.
Yeah.
The other nitpick I have, which is like a half one, is I really hope, because there's a joke between Zoro and Luffy of calling out your finishing moves. I really hope that's like they're setting up that that's not a thing, and then we'll see that it is a thing, and then like the rest of the characters will start doing it too. Because I want Onigiri and everything else. Like, I want the Straw Hats to call out their moves, not just Luffy. And I'm hoping they're just setting it up for, like, a joke in the future, but who knows? And again, it's something so minor that, like, I'm not going to hate the show if Zoro never calls out his attack moves. But I do want it.
Yeah, I want it too.
I need to see Zoro being more of a himbo. Like, so far he just seems like he's very competent and introverted, but not himbo-y enough.
Yeah,
I feel like they started off with which arc is this? post Thriller Bark Zoro, like after the Kuma incident, because he does seem very stern, which Zoro gets to. But I do remember, like, early Zoro is a little bit of a goofball as well.
Yeah, he is.
In fact, he's a goofball from time to time, but it just feels like they started off with later Zoro as the archetype rather than early Zoro, which is closer to Luffy than he is now. So, but we'll see.
Yeah. And then with the end of the episode, we got a trailer for, the upcoming season. Like a new trailer got released, showing off a little more characters, along with a surprise buzzing sound behind it. What the fuck? The drone show?
Yeah. Yeah, so like a whole fleet of drones rose up into the sky, and then
we all thought, we're like, wait, what is happening? What is going on?
Yeah.
Because it just all of a sudden got super bright.
Yeah, well, because all the drones turned on.
Yeah.
And then they flew up, and then they had all these different formations. Like, Dennis took a whole, 8-minute video of all of the different things they did.
Garrett, you took photos, right?
I took photos, and then I also recorded from, like a minute or two in to the end of it. Once I realized, this is going to be, a long-ass thing. Never mind, let me just record it.
Okay, did you take photos more?
Yeah, I took photos.
Okay.
Maybe
we should combine all of our media to do photos and video footage.
Yeah, they had the show logo. They had a giant sea king that moved around. They had the scene where Shanks puts the hat on Luffy,
a gum
Luffy punching.
Pistol.
Yeah, a bunch of straw hats just kind of floating in the sky.
Oh, sorry, Garrett. What was
that? The gum pistol was really cool because the drone, so they can move.
Yeah.
So it was actually from our point of view stretching.
That was so cool.
It was just a cool effect.
Yeah.
And then like you said, there's the hats. We got the show symbol, both the actual title of the show, and I think we just got just the straw hat.
Oh yeah,
Jolly Roger.
We got the straw hat, Jolly Roger, and then around it, a sail and a ship appeared, and then this drone ship sort of rotated in the sky. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Buggy's face, and then I thought this was actually a really cool note. They had Oda's autograph.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was very cool. Very cool drone show. And then as we ended, we had to put all our stuff away, and another last-minute close call. We got a photo with the Going Merry masthead.
Oh, yeah.
As they were kicking everyone out.
It was this chaotic thing where it's okay, show's over, make your way to the exits, and it's fully dark now, and then we're trying to put away our chairs, find all of our bags, make sure we didn't drop anything and forget it on the ground because it's real dark out now.
And take that one last photo. And I think, Garrett, you were the last person to get the photo.
I think I was.
Wow.
I got lucky because I know they were trying. They were like, all right, I saw you waiting, so hurry up and take your photo. But they were definitely you are no more after you.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we should also mention that the staff were dressed up as Marines.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
And they were show quality outfits.
I want that hat, Netflix. Let me buy that Marine hat.
Maybe the Marine hat will fit you where the straw hat doesn't.
Yeah, it's adjustable.
Did they, within this first episode, did they ever once call, because I know there's they kind of go back and forth between the Marines and the Navy.
Oh, Kobe says I want to join the Marines. I want to be a Marine.
Yeah. Did they ever say Navy?
No.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Although
that was always
you do see a ship, I think it's Garp's ship, and it does say Kaigun, which is Navy, on the sails in kanji. So unless you can read the kanji, I don't know, really for the world of One Piece, Navy and Marine is interchangeable.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, comes out by the time this is out, the Netflix adaptation is either already out or out within hours. So
yeah, honestly, it's up to you when you post it.
Yeah, it just depends on my availability. So hope folks out there enjoy it. I think all three of us here are going to try watching it. I don't know if we'll get through all the episodes in a day like some people are. I like to take my time with these things.
It'll depend on when I start. We'll see.
Yeah. Part of me actually would love to watch this with friends. Like do a group watch for a couple episodes over the weekend.
Of seeing if we should. I just didn't know where everyone's availability was going to be.
Yeah, that's the hard part these days.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can pull together.
Yep.
Let's try it.
We're like, oh yeah, we can do it, but we got to do it Sunday. I'm like, that's like 2 days though.
We got a holiday weekend. We got a holiday weekend coming up with Labor Day. Oh. All this should be done off topic, or off the mic rather, but we're doing it now, so deal with it.
Getting a sneak peek at the backstage.
Yeah.
Before we do.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So, thanks for listening to this bonus episode. Kate, do you want to promote anything?
I don't really have anything to promote. I guess watch One Piece on Netflix when it comes out on the 31st.
Garrett, where can people find you?
Same. It's a special episode. They know where to find me.
All right.
And nothing really to promote. But yeah, I mean, maybe once we all watch it and the rest of the group watches it, we can do like another special, like season 1 review.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun idea. Yeah, follow me on the socials. I said it on the main episode to end our podcast on that too. Support us if you can, like, subscribe, all that jazz. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
See ya.
It's your order.